James May has described his terror at believing Richard Hammond was dead after watching his co-star's vehicle burst into flames following a horrifying car crash in Switzerland. Hammond, 47, managed to escape the 220 mph Rimac car that flipped over onto its roof, and avoid serious injury after completing the Hamburg Hill climb over the weekend, but when May drove past and saw the vehicle burning, he feared the worst. In a blog posted to Drive Tribe on Monday, May, 54, says, "I cannot remember experiencing such a debilitating sense of shock and pure incomprehension as this." May initially believed Hammond could not have survived such a devastating crash and, not having seen Hammond exiting the car himself and speaking with paramedics, was convinced his co-star was dead. He was driving behind Hammond when the incident happened. The window of opportunity for believing that Hammond was dead was quite brief. "I just happened to have driven through the middle of it," writes May. "Maybe 15 seconds earlier, and I would have seen a dazed but intact Hammond extracting himself from his lunched but not yet burning car." May explains that he happened to arrive as the marshals pulled him hurriedly away from the newly burning car because they thought it might explode and therefore didn't realize Hammond was walking himself and talking. Instead, what May saw was the remains of Hammond being hauled from the burning wreckage, like some hideous vintage film clip from Formula One. Hammond miraculously managed to escape the incident with just one broken bone, and now he's out of danger. May is able to make a joke about the whole thing. "It's important to see the whole scenario, and not just rely on a snapshot. I thought he'd bought the farm. He's actually broken a bone in his knee and needs a small pin putting in it, in Switzerland, the world center of skiing injuries and doing things properly. Far from being dead, he'll actually come home slightly improved over the Brummy original." Jeremy Clarkson, 57, described it as the most frightening crash he's ever seen, tweeting, "It was the biggest crash I've ever seen and the most frightening, but incredibly, and thankfully, Richard seems to be mostly okay." Hammond released a video statement to Drive Tribe overnight in which he apologized to his wife and family for being involved in another horrifying crash. He was previously involved in a life-threatening car accident in 2006 while filming an episode of Top Gear, in which he suffered brain injuries but made a full recovery. A statement issued by Amazon Prime's The Grand Tour, which Hammond was filming at the time of his crash, confirmed the star has no serious injuries. It read, "Richard Hammond was involved in a serious crash after completing the Hamburg Hill climb in Switzerland in a Rimac Concept 1, an electric supercar built in Croatia, during filming for the Grand Tour Season 2 on Amazon Prime, but very fortunately suffered no serious injury. Richard was conscious and talking, and climbed out of the car himself before the vehicle burst into flames. He was flown by air ambulance to hospital in St. Gallen to be checked over, revealing a fracture to his knee. Nobody else was in the car or involved in the accident, and we'd like to thank the paramedics on site for their swift response. The cause of the crash is unknown and is being investigated."